If the contents of the newspapers are any guide as to the state of the United Kingdom, then the United Kingdom doesn't exist. Every barometer, every indicator of the existence of the state shows that the state doesn't exist because everything is falling apart. In the Sunday Times, there is this heading: Swearing and Standoffs as the Home Office goes full Tarantino. And then there is this other headline on the opposite page: Royal Cousin fixed luxury Kenyan safari for sanctioned oligarch. That oligarch is, of course, the Russian Oleg Deripaska. Oleg Deripaska has been featuring as being very in touch with the closest incumbent in the posts, Tony Blair's Peter Mandelshit, and so on. And on the front page of the Sunday Times, there is this piece headed Charles to be caretaker, monarch for William. And the main heading, of course, is Killer Letby was offered a role at top children's hospital after the allegations against her that she was mass murdering babies were wrongly and intentionally treated as witch hunt against her by the executives at the Chester Hospital. So if hospitals become the killing fields for babies, I mean, where do people send their babies? There is no safeguarding. There is no concept of safeguarding, no accountability. And the doctors and nurses that raise the concern about the mass murderess, Lucy Letby, they were condemned as being responsible for witch hunt against Lucy Letby. And some of them were asked to apologize to her. Well, the hospital management intentionally delayed reporting any concern about her to the police. And they did that for over 1 year while she carried on mass murdering. And here is the actual evidence about why there are people seeking asylum. This is a piece by Louise Callaghan. It's World News on page 14 of the Sunday Times, which quotes, "The Taliban want to kill me. A small boat to the UK is my only hope." A former interpreter for British forces who is in hiding in Turkey after fleeing Afghanistan says he will do anything to avoid being sent home. Now he is preparing to hand over £12,000 to be smuggled to Britain. And the Nazi Party in Germany is featured in the news, world news, where the AfD Nazi says, "We are no Nazis, but some places aren't German anymore." And there is a piece about London and its role in the sinking British economy. And the cartoon in the Sunday Times shows the lioness or the lionesses are way ahead of Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, and the Lib Dems. So there is a piece in Camilla Long's column where the main piece is that whatever today's result, that is the game in Australia between the Lionesses and the Spaniards, Mason Greenwood proves that football is no beautiful game. Well, Mason Greenwood is the footballer against whom there is a campaign currently ongoing, led by the Channel 4 Countdown presenter, Rachel Riley, because Greenwood is a sex offender, alleged sex offender, and he's being returned to his position in the Manchester Football Club. With scholarships and higher graduate salaries, savvy teenagers are looking to America. Two British students have set up a mentor scheme for others to follow. It says why we turned down Oxbridge for Harvard. It's a clearing guide 2023. So what is clear in the, and this is the Sunday Times, of course, the still the, I think it sells more copies then the Observer and the Daily Sunday Telegraph. The Sunday Times, and the other one is, of course, the Scum on Sunday, which has got, again, is there. This piece is about the television actor Emmerdale series actor Matthew Quits. Emmerdale hunk Matthew Wolfenden has blamed his lack of gritty storylines for his soap exit. Well, he was apparently the subject of a kind of half-hearted complaint against his racist remarks 2 years ago. But according to this report, there was no investigation and he was not disciplined. But that is the case, the contents of the copy. Here, the main front page splash about him says Race Rao star quits Emmerdale. Despite the fact that no disciplinary action was taken against him, it is Race and Race Rao that is leading the heading. And the allegations against the Chester Hospital, where this mass murderess was carrying on the murders, include the fact that anyone who complained against her was being treated as the wrongdoer. And the piece by, well, the byline, whoever writes it, in the so called column by Karen Brady, we'll come to that. Says lionesses prove if you want it done right, get a woman. Now, that is too stupid, isn't it? If you want it right, don't get a woman or a man. Get the right person with the right skills and the right motivation and the right framework for accountability. That is not something that Karen Brady has heard of. The Gillian Keegan, the Secretary of State for Education, the Cabinet Secretary in the name of Education, in Rishi Sunak's department, the government. And the heading is Tory's message to A-level students that university isn't the be-all and end-all. And it says you don't have to do a degree. You can be an apprentice like me. And the editorial on the Sun on Sunday says, it's a travesty that the French are stopping fewer channel migrants now than last year, particularly since in March Rishi Sunak agreed to hand over nearly £500 million to help them do just that. What a shamefully stark contrast with neighboring Belgium. That country's robust approach has cut the numbers of migrants boats leaving its shores by 92% in just 5 years. Unlike the French Navy, which escorts flimsy migrant inflatables to UK waters, the Belgians arrest everyone on board and seize their mobiles to help trap smugglers. The point being made here is that the media, the political media, is obsessed with the migrants and obsessed with the kind of denial of the factors that actually cause the desperation for these migrants to seek the places, safety, and refuge in the Western countries. There is no recognition in either Sunday Times or on the Sun on Sunday of the existence of the United Nations, of the existence of the United Nations agencies that are supposed to be upholding the Refugee Convention and related conventions and agreements that are supposed to safeguard the desperate people would be migrants. And persistently, there is no recognition of the actual breaches of the treaty obligations by the United Kingdom concerning the refugees. There is no report about how many times the United Kingdom has broken the law. There is no correlation between the actual breaches of the law by the United Kingdom and the numbers of people drowned. And it goes on. How many treaties are there that the United Kingdom is a signatory to? Let's have a check. On the website www.gov.uk guidance stroke /UK Treaties, guidance about the work of the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, treaty section. This one is published more than 10 years ago and updated on the 7th of November 2029. So set that date again. Updated on 7th of November 2019. The Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office Treaty section supports other government departments with the conclusion of treaties. We also provide information on those treaties to work which the United Kingdom is or has been a party. We also provide information on those treaties to which the UK is or has been a party. This includes running the United Kingdom Treaties Online database and providing a treaty enquiry service. You can follow updates to treaties involving the UK using our treaty action bulletins. The treaty enquiry service may be able to help you if you cannot find what you are looking for, but please note, we are not able to provide legal advice, interpretation of treaty text, or undertake research on your behalf. The point is not about legal advice. The UK acts as a depository for multilateral treaties encompassing a wide range of subjects. We have published a list of the treaties for which the United Kingdom is a depository, accompanied by individual status lists. The treaty section is responsible for coordinating the UK's response to formal instruments of ratification, accession, or otherwise to these treaties, which are deposited with FCDO by foreign governments or international organizations. In most cases, treaties take effect for a new party either on the day an instrument or ratification or equivalent is deposited with the FCDO or after a predetermined period has elapsed in accordance with the provisions of the treaty concerned. Those wishing to deposit an instrument with FCDO should ensure it is sent to us via e-copy with the original hard copy posted to the following address: Treaty Section, Legal Directorate, Room WH2.1.43, King Charles Street, Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, London, SW1A 2AH. And the disclaimer says this is updated on the 7th of November 2019, etc., etc. But the point that I'm illustrating here by reading all this rubbish is that they don't answer the question that you search answers to. They overwhelm the space with idiotic bureaucratic banalities. The question is, how many treaties is the United Kingdom currently signed up to? The second question is how many treaties are, by the contents of the treaties, urgent ones that must be referred to in contexts such as in relation to the issue of migrants on the boats and so on, but are not mentioned by the UK government nor by the British media. So the treaties are there, thousands of them are there, but they are there to be ignored by the evidence of the government website, not to be complied with, not to be upheld. So if that is the case, then what happens is that the violations of people's rights, to prevent which the particular treaties are in place, these violations are continued. And despite the fact that the UK is a signatory to a treaty concerned, like the Refugee Convention, there is nothing that the UK is doing to uphold those conventions and to safeguard the refugees, the migrants. We shall be continuing on all of those in due course, of course, including on the fact that there is no known way to prevent accountability lapses within the NHS, by the NHS, prevent the massacres of the likes of Lucy Letby, carrying out the murders of the babies. Within the actual hospital sector, those who have been inpatients will know that the overwhelming majority of the staff below the rank of nurse are mainly African, followed by Asian. There is hardly any white indigenous people in the hospitals in that category. And as for the accountability of nurses, there is absolutely no accountability for the nurses. So if the inpatient is in need of service or is in need of clarification, is in need of support, and they ask the staff, first of all, the first reaction from the ward nurse is a negative one. There is always one excuse after another. Cited instead of the service sought being provided. And the nurses are not held to account. When the consultants do the daily routine in the morning through the wards, what do they do? They don't communicate with the patients. They stage a parade and they march through the wards, and there is no way that a proper conversation can be even begun, let alone a proper conversation about an issue be actually conveyed and conducted. And the nurse is deferred to by these consultants. Any question that the patient may put to the passing consultants gets passed to the nurses, in front of the nurse or the nurses, by the consultants, telling the patient to talk to the nurse. When that is followed by the patient asking the nurse to answer the question, the nurse ignores. That is the norm. That is the norm. So these babies, they could not be more helpless in age, in experience, in physical strength, vulnerability, and lack of knowledge. These are the most helpless human beings to be in contact with a nurse, like the mass murderess, Lucy Letby. She could do anything to them, and they would not know. And by the time they would know, they would be dead, which is what has happened to countless numbers of babies. So the NHS hospital wards are wastelands. There is no actual accountability, no actual contracts. And as the details of the wrongdoings and the criminality done by the hospital management at Chester, Countess of Chester Hospital in Cheshire, shows there is no touch, there is no contact at all. By the time the parents of the babies physically get to know where their babies are, it is too late. They have been murdered. And there is nobody else apart from the murderess. There is nobody else that is actually there to witness anything. So we shall be talking about all of these in due course. This is now 33 minutes, 34 minutes now at 07:23 hours GMT on Sunday, the 20th of August 2023.